I never thought I would write something here. I've always been way too skeptical to believe in random people on Reddit. But honestly, something weird, or at the very least off, is happening to me. I don't know if it's just me or if this place, this farm, has something to do with it. But I feel like if I don't let it out, I'm going to lose my mind for real. Maybe it's just loneliness. Being alone in the middle of nowhere can mess with your head. But okay, let me start from the beginning. I inherited my great-great-grandmother's farm last month. That's where I'm living now. It was one of those unexpected inheritances, the kind that shows up in a beige envelope with official letterhead and old paper smell. The message was straightforward. Your name is eligible as the next caretaker of the family property, following the wishes of Ms. Hilda, as stated in the will archived at the City Hall. We request your presence for the official transfer of ownership. Basically, no one else wanted it, so it ended up with me. When I was reading through the will, which came with the summons, I noticed that only women were allowed to inherit the farm. I thought that was progressive of her, but that's just a guess. No one in my family ever really wanted to talk about her. Everything I know came from a few drunken slips at family celebrations or whispers when flipping through old photo albums with my grandma. What I do know is that Ms. Hilda was a nature lover. She built a perfectly balanced lifestyle where the animals on the farm lived in complete harmony with her. No grooming, no fences, no sacks of feed. Each animal seemed to know its role, and somehow they all worked together to keep this artificial ecosystem thriving with life. She never had kids, unlike her sister, my direct ancestor, who married a businessman from a nearby town. So when Hilda died, the place was just left behind. No one wanted to give up the comforts of modern life. And just as that, the farm was frozen in time. I mean, big city, luxury, entertainment, convenience. None of the newer generations were willing to trade that to live like she did. Being serious, I only ended up here because my financial life was circling the drain. I was in debt even to the pharmacy down the street. So when I got the inheritance papers, I saw it as my last chance to start over. And maybe to find myself again, to reconnect, find meaning. But trying to do that out here hasn't been easy. As much as I feel connected and even happy sometimes, there are these waves, cold ones, that make every hair on my body stand on end. And I just want to pack everything up and go back to my dad's home. But at first, everything seemed fine. I arrived yesterday alone. After more than 4 hours of driving, twisting through dirt roads, red clay hills, and eucalyptus groves that bent with the wind like they were whispering to each other. When I finally pulled up to the gate, I was hit by a wall of heavy heat. Crossing through those rust-covered iron gates felt like stepping into a temporal bubble framed in moss. The vegetation here is radiant, lush, and dense. The garden looks freshly tended. The trees are heavy with fruit, almost begging to be picked. The air smells of earth and wild greenery. But there's something else in it, too, something fermented. Like life itself drifts through the breeze and fertilizes everything it touches. The closest I can describe the scent is musk, a fragrance of sweat, skin, and blooming things. It feels like I'm constantly wrapped in it, embraced by something I can't quite see. But what really threw me off, what really made me shiver in a weird and silent way, was the chickens, goats, Pigs, ducks, even some dogs, all moving together like a peaceful little society. No piles of droppings, no broken plants, no mess, just calm coordination. It was like the entire environment had formed its own routine to survive beautifully. I mean, I'm a city girl, raised in an apartment. But even I know things aren't supposed to be this tidy. I still want to double check if someone's been living here. Because honestly, if some guy just shows up out of nowhere, I'm going to lose it. There aren't any fences around the property, and I don't trust the doors or windows. They're all wooden and flimsy, in worse shape than my bank account. After spending several minutes completely hypnotized by the whole place, I parked the car and started unloading some of the boxes into the house. Now let me talk a bit about the house. It's huge. I settled into the oldest wing, built from stone and rammed earth. It's way more preserved than the Victorian-style front, which has already been half devoured by time and termites. That rustic part of the house drew me in right away. It holds a locked room I haven't found the key to yet, the staircase to the second floor, and what used to be my great-great-grandmother's bedroom. Stepping inside felt like walking into a historical drama set. Everything's still in place, the wardrobe, the carved mirror frame, the old books leaning on the shelves. It was like she could walk through the door at any moment, lay down on the embroidered sheets, and pick up where she left off. That thought gives me chills if I think about it too much. There was no way I was going to sleep in that bed. So I headed back to the car and grabbed my trusty inflatable mattress. I had been dragging that thing around since my days in the Scouts. Still haven't worked up the nerve to lie on the actual bed. The pillows are still fluffed like they're waiting for someone. So no way. I woke up this morning wanting to be productive. I was gently awakened by the golden light of the sun slipping through the slats of the old shutter. That kind of light that carries a fine, magical dust dancing in the air like the day itself is whispering secrets. I got up, still in my oversized sleep shirt, and went to rummage through one of the boxes that I left in the kitchen to make myself some breakfast. The kitchen is enormous, one of the biggest rooms in the house, easily. In the center stands a massive island, surrounded by charming little navy blue cabinet doors, their paint peeling beautifully with age. Came closer and touched the sink, turned the faucet expecting nothing but dry clanking, and to my surprise water came gushing out. At first it spewed rust, sludge, insects I didn't recognize, and this awful smell, metallic and putrid. But after a few seconds it cleared. The water turned clean, crystal clear. Almost sparkling, I braced for a clog, but when I opened one of the small cabinet doors under the sink, I found a wide black iron pipe, thicker than my wrist. I thought to myself, things really were built to last, huh? I even smiled. I ran my hand under the water. It was fresh, cool, pure. Top-tier well water, I muttered. I felt lighter, hopeful even, ready to start the day. I went back to the car to grab the rest of my things, more food, dishcloths, sponges, kitchen supplies, even some old spices that were stuffed in the back of the cupboard in my last apartment. And I also brought in the cutlery. I forgot it before, and sadly I'm not Wolverine's daughter to be able to cut something without needing knives. When I got to the side door of the kitchen, the one that opens to the yard, the first weird thing hit me. A pig, a big one, with a white patch on its face. It was massive and looked pretty old. It stared at me for a long while as I awkwardly tried to open the stuck door without dropping the box I was carrying. Eventually, I gave up and set the box down. The moment I did that, the pig casually walked up and, with an unervingly natural push, shoved the door open. Then it just trotted off like it had somewhere to be. I swear someone must have been living here. There's no way a pig just understands intent like that. It was kind of cute, a little unsettling, sure. I keep forgetting how massive pigs can be. I picked up the box again, set it on the counter, and went back for the rest, this time jamming a stone into the door to keep it from shutting. Once everything was finally inside, I wiped down the counters and made myself a quick sandwich while watching the animals through the big window above the main sink. The sunlight filtered through the window, catching the old embroidered curtain. Even tattered and faded, it was still beautiful, delicate. The lace filtered the light, casting soft patterns of shadows and glow across the tiles. It was one of those calm, poetic little moments that make you feel grateful to be alive. So I stepped closer to the window, letting the sun hit my face. That's when I saw them, the spiders. Small brown ones with long, thin legs and delicate thread-like bodies. At first, from a distance, I thought they were just specks of dust or dirt on the curtain. But when I got closer, I realized they were moving with precision. They were working together, and the weirdest part, they were weaving a single web, one unified, spiraled, symmetrical pattern, fluid and deliberate, almost like a choreographed dance among silken threads. And the design matched the curtain. The spiders were copying the embroidery. My brain just froze. Do spiders do that? Do they have visual memory? Can they replicate human-made patterns? How do they even communicate something like that? I thought about grabbing my phone to take a photo, but something made me hesitate, like photographing it would violate something sacred. I turned back to look outside again, still dazed by what I'd just seen. That's when I realized I was being watched at all that time. A group of geese stood at the edge of the yard, just near the hedges that lined the path to one of the gardens. Their necks were fully stretched, all eyes locked on me, unblinking, perfectly still. Those eyes, I was paralyzed. My chest tightened with that eerie, primal sense that you're being sized up. They weren't honking, flapping, pecking at the ground, literally nothing. Just stillness. Deep, heavy silence. Like they were measuring me. After what felt like minutes, I stepped a bit closer to the window. That's when, as if someone had flipped a switch, they all turned and began waddling in single file toward the bushes, their plump behinds bobbing side to side like nothing had happened. It was a strange mix of relief and embarrassment, getting spooked by birds with fluffy butts who eat lettuce and worms. Still, something instinctive lingered. I closed the curtains, carefully, trying not to disturb the little lace weavers still tirelessly at work. I finished my sandwich and tried to move on with the day. Took my things to the bedroom, cleaned out the dresser, sorted the pantry, opened some of the windows I could manage, let the air circulate. I scrubbed the living room floor, wiped the kitchen and bedroom moldings, and tried to get rid of the black mildew growing in the corners, but no luck. I'll try using bleach tomorrow. I also opened the wooden blinds in my great-great-grandmother's room. The place feels not haunted exactly, but dense. The air smells like cedar and some kind of faint floral sweetness. Her clothes are still in the wardrobe. Her handkerchiefs are still folded. The old perfume bottles still have liquid inside. I didn't touch much, just enough to dust around. Last night I had to shove the old bed to the side to fit my inflatable mattress. Only in daylight did I notice the wood beneath it is darker. More porous dot, it scratches easily. Probably explains the smell. After that, I made some food, watched a couple of movies, and worked on a freelance project I need to submit next week. When night came, I used my little portable stove to heat some water for a bath. That part felt strange, too, but I figured it was just the surreal vibe of showering in a place that feels like a movie set. For some reason, there's no mirror in the bathroom. Afterwards, I made a bit of pasta and got ready for bed. That's when something truly bizarre happened, and why I decided to write all of this here. I was already in bed, about to sleep, flipping through some old notes I found in one of the bedside tables, just lists of herbs and homemade remedies. Ordinary stuff. The window was cracked open, letting in the smell of damp earth from the garden, and a chilly breeze that made the curtains sway. I got up to close the curtains, and that's when I felt it. A chill on the back of my neck. A silence so dense it didn't feel like the absence of sound, but the presence of something that didn't want to be heard. I leaned closer to the window, trying to spot movement. And then I saw him, the old pig Dot frozen, his huge shadow split by a stripe of moonlight, standing right at the edge of the trees where the dark begins. He wasn't making a sound, wasn't moving, just staring directly into my eyes, and it wasn't the vacant, curious stare of a farm animal. It was locked in, intentional, too aware, like he was analyzing me, judging me. That same look a teacher gives when they know you're about to lie. That look that crawls under your skin. My breath caught in my throat. My knees felt weak. My mind flashed back to the geese. I shut the curtains fast, took a few steps back, then stood in the middle of the room, frozen, waiting to hear something. Hoof steps, a grunt, anything. But I heard nothing. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's just the isolation, maybe I'm cracking. But still, has anyone ever seen anything like this? Maybe I'm overreacting. I've never lived with animals. I was raised downtown, surrounded by streetlights and concrete. I know pigs can be smarter than dogs. But that look was something else. The glint in those dark eyeballs glowing faintly in the moonlight. It's still gnawing at me while I write this. Sometimes I think that if I open the window again, it'll be there, right in front of my face. I can almost feel his breath, smell it, like he's still here. Maybe I'm just being paranoid. Sometimes when my eyes glimpse the curtains, I see his shadow on them, closer than ever to the window. Maybe these animals are just curious. Maybe they've never seen a human before. But some part of me can't shake the feeling that I'm not alone out here, and that this farm remembers things I don't understand yet. Tomorrow I'm going to keep searching for the keys. Maybe they'll open more than just doors.